Welcome to part 5 of doing a partial engine rebuild on a 2000 Isuzu Rodeo 3.2. Now today what we're going to do, we got everything together, got the oil pan on and all that. We're going to install the heads. We're going to torque them down. We're going to set the cams in, set the timing. Very crucial on setting the cams on this. Remember, this engine has 4 cams and each of them has to be set precisely. This car will mess up, bend the valve, or run bad, and you don't want that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up the block where the heads mount to. And what we're going to use is some brake cleaner. I don't like to use carburetor cleaner much, brake cleaner, because it evaporates just like that, so it leaves a nice, clean, dry surface. All right, let's get to it. Let's spray these down and clean up inside the cylinders and get it ready. Okay, let's take a look. Brake cleaner. Get some fresh rags. Now, before we actually scrape off the old gasket, what we're going to do is just take off that old oil. And grease. And if you want, you can go in there and clean up the pistons a little bit. Next, what I like to do, get my little wire wheel. We go around both sides. Now I'm just setting the camera up on one side. The other side is exactly the same, okay? And we're going to take the wire wheel and clean up a little bit more. Okay, now once we get the wire wheel done, going to spray a little bit more, clean it up. Okay, next we're going to use what's called surface grinding discs. These discs go on a little 90-degree angle air tool, and these are really going to clean it up really good. If you're using this, be very careful because you're going up against aluminum and you do not want to gouge inside the aluminum, especially around the cylinder walls. So we go over this very lightly. Let's get some air. And we just going just till we see a nice, smooth, shiny surface. You let the tool go over by itself. Don't try to push down. That's very important. Do not try to force it down. Okay, we got both sides cleaned off. Again, let's go with some spray. Clean it down. Make sure you have a clean rag and wipe it off. Make sure inside the cylinders are wiped off. Alright, this next step is very important. The holes where the bolts go in to hold down the head, you want to get some kind of air. I don't care what you use, but you got to get that stuff out of there. Even go get the little cans of air they use for the keyboard cleaner. So what we do is go down there and spray air all that stuff out of there. So all that stuff come out, you want that out of there. Now we're going to set down the head gaskets. When you get the head gaskets, there is a left and a right. So please don't make a mistake and switch them around or you're going to mess this engine up. On these gaskets that the customer got, there's actually an R and an L, left and right. Now when it's not facing the engine. Whenever you're doing that, is that if you're standing behind the engine. This is the right side, that's the left side. Let's get these gaskets up there. It says R, right side of the engine. Left side. Okay, this is coming out lovely. Let's go get these cylinder heads, flip them over, and clean up the bottom of them. Be right back. Here we have both of the cylinder heads. Same principle applies. You can see all the oil up there. And yeah, we're going to take some brake cleaner, clean all that down, take the wire brush, and then smooth it out with the surface grinder. Alright, the initial part is cleaned up. Get a little brake cleaner. Clean this up. And as you can see already, it's starting to make a big difference in the way this heads look. Now if you don't have air tools to clean up using a wire wheel, electric drill will work just the same. Just be careful with that one. It's a lot more bulkier to handle. Okay, let's go for the final pass by. Get the surface grinder. We're going to put a new wheel up here. I mean, this one's still good. I like to go fresh. Let's get that done. Okay, everything's coming out good. Just got that cleaned off. What we're going to do, one more coat of spray. Brake clean. Clean rag, we're going to wipe it down. And what we're going to do is hit it with a little air just to dry it up. And this is why I like to use brake clean, because brake clean dries up really quick. Great job. Now, we're ready to set these heads onto our engine. Let's do that. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to set the right cylinder head on first. Again, make sure the head gasket that's up here, make sure it has the R for the right side as you're standing in behind the engine. That's how you tell. Now this car has, like, they call dowel pins or dowel sleeves. And what it does, it helps with the installation. It lines that head right up so you don't scar up that gasket, mess it up. Let's get that head on. Okay, we got the head on. What we're going to do is start installing the head bolts. Very important, get yourself some new head bolts because head bolts do stretch. Also, notice how we cleaned out the head bolt ports. Now what you want to do is put a light coat of oil on the head bolts. Why? Because if you torque these head bolts down, metal on metal, when it's dry, sometimes you'll hear something go like creaking. You're not getting the right torque. Your torque is going to completely mess up. By putting just that little bit of oil, you're going to get a nice smooth torque down. These head bolts are 10 millimeter Allen keys. All right, better use the, instead of the Allen keys sitting there, it'll take you forever. Get a 10 millimeter Allen socket, and we're just gonna bring these down just till they touch the head, using a regular ratchet, not air ratchet, just till they touch the head. Okay, now we're going to set the torque wrench to 47 foot-pounds. Okay, we got both heads on, got them torqued down to 47 foot-pounds. Next we're going to change the gaskets in this water outlet right here. So what we're going to do, we already unbolted it before we had to take off the heads. So now we're going to take off the 12 millimeter bolt up here to take out the pipe and take off the hose and take this off and clean it up. Let's get that done. Now there's an O-ring on this pipe right here. You want to take this O-ring off and get that new one on there. As you can tell, this O-ring, that thing was dry rotted. Put all this thing together without changing that, this thing would have leaked. Now we're going to take the housing, we're going to put a bead of silicone on one side, and again the gasket, and then another bead of silicone. silicone here. Place the gaskets in place. And we're going to get another bead of silicone. The next thing we're going to do is install the lifters. As you can see, we have the valve springs right there, and then we got lifters like they look like little cups, and they go over them. Let's go get those so we can set them up. Now, as you can see, what I got laid out here is the lifters, the cam caps, and I got it lined out in a way that if I'm in back of the motor, this is my right side, this is my left side. And if you notice, some of them are blue and some of them are yellow. I'm about to show you in a minute why I did that. So let's get that camera turned back towards the engine. I'm going to show you how we're going to hook this up. Okay, here we are, right side of the engine. You notice when I took this engine apart, I put a little blue mark there and a yellow mark there. And as you just recalled, I had the lifters, and it was all numbered 1 through 6, one yellow and one side blue. So I know the blue side goes up here, numbers 1 through 6, and the yellow side here, 1 through 6. Let's get those installed. Now, what I'm about to show you is very crucial when putting this engine together. We're about to install the cams. Now, the cams, you got 2 cams, one here, one there, the exhaust cam and the intake cam. These has to be timed to the gear right here. If you notice, I got 2 little dots. There are going to be 2 little dots on each cylinder. I lined up a blue one for this cam. I made a yellow one for this cam. Now, there are going to be 2 indentations. You're not going to see blue and yellow. You're going to see 2 indentations. Those are going to be your marks. Make sure you notice both marks. Bring them up so you can see them. And let's go get those cams. Okay, what we have is both cams for the right cylinder head. If you notice, I put a blue mark on this one. Blue mark, that's the intake cam. This is going to be exhaust cam. Before you install these cams, they have to be preloaded. Now, what that means is, when you take this apart, the teeth will jump from each other. So you have to bring those back into place, back into alignment, using a 5mm bolt to lock it into place. Now, there's a tool out there. I think I found one website. It was like $600 for this tool. Who got $600 to be putting on this tool that you'll probably never use it again? So I'm going to show you how to preload these cams the easy way without using a tool. Alright, what I'm showing you is how to preload these cams. All 4 must be preloaded. Now, if you take a very close look at the teeth on the front of this cam, you can look like they're offset. Right? So what we got to do is line those up install a 5mm bolt in them, lock it down until we get these cams installed. Now up here, as you can see, you see the 5mm bolt going through it. Gears are lined up. All the gears are lined up. That cam's ready to be installed. So I'm going to show you how to do this without getting this tool, which I sold like $600. You probably can get it like $30, $40. But if you don't want to do it, you ain't got to do that. Go out there and spend this. This way will work just as great. All right. One more time. That's a preloaded cam. That's what we're going to look at. That's what we're going to try to go for. And here's one that's not preloaded yet. All right. Let's get to going. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is 4 5mm by 26mm bolts. Now, it's going to extrude a lot out of the cam, so you can go a little bit less, 24 if need be, but I like the 26. Make sure I get a good, nice snug fit in there. And then you're going to need the camshafts. All right, let's get. Now, if you have a vice grip, or a friend with a can hold a 1 1/16 wrench to hold the journal right there, right here. Now what I did, I got it locked into an opening of the truck, so it will not turn. Now what you're going to do here is take you a big open end vice grips. You're going to crimp it on the outer edge, the smaller gear that turns. Crimp on that. Let's get that crimped on. Okay, we got that crimped on. Now let's try to go over here to the front of the cam. This little hole right here is where we're going to take the bolt and put it in. The bolt goes in from the back side of the gear. And what we're going to do is turn the front part of the gear downward until we can get that bolt started in there. Now let me see if I can set the camera up so you can get a good look at this while I'm doing this. Now hopefully I got this camera set up in a good position so you can see this. Let's get that installed. Okay, we got the 8mm bolt going in the back. We're going to push down, line this cam up. There it is, the bolt's going in. It's an 8mm bolt. Let's get the ratchet and tighten this up. Make sure the teeth are lined up, and you want to tighten up that bolt. Don't over tighten it or you will snap it. Once you see, tighten up the bolt, they're in line. Carefully remove the vice grips. And there you go. Got preloaded cam. Alright, we're going to do the other two because now we got 2 done. And then we're going to install them on the head. Great job. Let's go. On the right side cylinder head, there's going to be marks in back of each cam. Now the cams you're looking at right now is from the left side. Now on the right side, there's 2 little circles on each cam. One cam has 1 circle and the other one has 1 and 2 circles. On the right side, you want to make sure you use the mark the same as the other cam. So on the same cylinder head, now, okay, this is the intake. If that intake has 1 circle on it, and you're going to line it up with that gear in the center of the head, this one, use the 1 circle. Do not use the 2. Now, the cams you're looking at right now is from the left side. Now, that cam has 2 circles on it. So we're going to go over to this cam, This has 2 marks, 1 circle and 2 circles. We're going to use exactly the 2 circle, and that's going to be on the left cylinder head. It's very, very important. I cannot stress it enough that these timing marks are lined up perfectly, not a tooth off, perfectly. All right, let's get this in the cylinder head so I can show you better. Okay, we're on the right cylinder head. There's my 2 little marks. One, the blue one, the yellow one. So the intake cam is going to go here. The exhaust cam is going to go here. And as you can see, I set the cam in there. And you see how I got that blue mark right there? So we're going to set that blue mark so it's right. They lined up perfectly. Now we got the yellow. Go over here. And we're going to line them up. Sorry, on the one. Perfectly. Also, as a good way, let's go to the front of this head. There's our bolt sticking out. Notice how they like got the exact same distance from the bolt to the head. So I know we're lined up with this head. So now we're going to go over here and install the left side. Let's get that done. Okay, as you can see, we got the left cams installed. Take a notice at the bolts that's protruding through the cams. Same distance from the head. And go to the other side. Do not, if you have, remove them, the cam caps yet. We did not install them right now, because what we're going to do now is another very, please, if you're going to redo this engine and follow these instructions, this video that I'm doing, please follow them to the T. What we're going to do now is, just in case, when we go tighten up them cam caps, one of those cams turned, we cannot have it hit the piston. So we're going to go down here to the crank. Now right over here, as you can see, I put a mark that's top dead center. So we're going to turn this crank right there, that little indentation. That's our number 1. But we don't want it, we don't want to line it up because we don't want to hit those valves. So what you're going to do is line up about 45 degrees right there. Yeah, bring it right there, it'd be good of you. Right there before top dead center. So that way, right now, I know all the pistons in this block are down. So no matter what happens, I'm not going to bend no valves. Once we get those caps lined up, the timing marks lined up, the valve covers on, then we'll go down there and put that on. All right? So let's get those cam caps installed. Here we got all the cam caps. Now the cam caps are, they are numbered. But what I did, I put little marks on them anyway, so I know which way they are. So just like I said before, we got the right side of the engine, the left side of the engine. We got the caps. Let's get those installed up on the engine. Sorry about that. Battery went dead in the camera. But you know, progress don't stop. So I had to keep moving. Gotta keep going. Now, while we were gone, I installed the cam bearings caps. Valve covers, as you can see. Set the timing belt, put the timing belt cover on. The fan housing. The belt tensioner. On the new belt. The new belt has 3 marks on it. And it has 4 arrows letting you know the direction the belt's going to be turning. Make sure it's going towards the right. Make sure the marks are lined up. Now on the crankshaft, The mark on the timing belt is on the left-hand side, but the mark on the crankshaft gear is lined up with the mark on the water pump. I mean, on the fuel pump, on the oil pump. So we're gonna end it like this. We got a lot done. I am very happy with the way this job is coming out. We're gonna see you next time, part 6 of the Isuzu Rodeo. Take care.